Hi friends, this is our fourth lecture in module 5 and from here onwards we are going to combine module 5 and 6 because sixth module is just an elaboration of the fifth module, so I am going to combine it so that for better understanding. So here we are getting into electromagnetic wave propagation. Last class we discussed about waves in general. I think you got an idea about electromagnetic wave and how we represent waves, etc. So from that we will specifically get into electromagnetic wave propagation, or how wave propagate in medium when it comes to electromagnetic wave. Okay. Basically what we mean here is that uh, we are going to solve the Maxwell's equation. So as we have already seen, Maxwell's equations are defined in space, right? We have already modified Maxwell's equation for time varying field. So Maxwell's equations we already defined, and it defines how your electromagnetic field, electric and magnetic field, will be in space with respect to time as well. So that we already defined. So by to understand electromagnetic wave propagation, we are going to solve Maxwell's equation in space for different medium, right? Because medium can be different as we have already seen. So that is our that is what we are going to do. We are going to solve Maxwell's equations in order to describe the electromagnetic wave propagation in the media. Okay, so that is our objective. Let us see what all kind of media are there. Like in electric field and material space also we have gone through this. Like what medium we are taking several examples. Like we have got free space. What is the peculiarity of free space? Free space means the conductivity is 0. We know the permittivity is what epsilon 0 and mu is mu 0. So that is about free space. Then we have got lossless dielectrics, right? Means dielectrics, lossless means it does not mean that it is completely lossless. When we compare the conductivity, conductivity is so small that it can be approximated to 0. Such dielectrics we call as what? Lossless dielectrics. When conductivity is approximately 0, the loss component when we see in a dielectric will be comparatively will come nearby 0. And so in such dielectrics, our permittivity will be what? Epsilon or epsilon 0. Means we will have a finite value for the relative permittivity greater than 1, right? So that is about permittivity. And when it comes to permeability or magnetic permeability, again we will have a value for relative permeability mu r, which is again greater than 1. So that is what we meant by lossless dielectric. Now the third one is lossy dielectric. Lossy dielectric means what? Conductivity is there because it is already mentioned here, it is lossy, and just like any dielectric, it has got a permittivity, and for magnetism we are taking the permeability of also. So that is what is meant by lossy dielectric. Then the fourth kind of medium which we are going to discuss is the conductors, means good conductors. Good conductors also, what it mean? We cannot exactly say that its conductivity is infinity. So whenever your conductivity is so high, that is what we mean by good conductors. Okay, or just a general case, we can say the conductivity tends to infinity. Then epsilon is what we already discussed this before. Epsilon will be what? Epsilon 0, and mu will be, it can have what? It can have some permeability. Mu maybe mu or mu 0. Okay. So these are the four cases that we will be discussing to understand electromagnetic wave propagation. In this, which one will be a general case? Right, it is better in when we considered the boundary condition. We started with dielectric boundary condition, because once we solve that, it is easier to solve all other cases because that they will come as some special cases only. So similarly here, which is a general case. General case is a lossy dielectric, right? General case is a lossy dielectric because it is their conductivity is a non-zero number. Then you have permittivity as well as permeability. So all these factors are considered in a lossy dielectric. In this class we will be solving Maxwell's equation particularly for whom? for the lossy dielectric, which is having a finite conductivity, some relative permeability as well as relative permittivity attached to it. So that is our general case. Afterwards, we will derive we will see how electromagnetic wave propagates in other medium as well. So let us start into wave propagation in lossy dielectric. So what is a lossy dielectric? A lossy dielectric is a medium in which an EM wave, as it propagates, loses power owing to the imperfect dielectric. Right? That is what we mean. Right? When I say your conductivity is non-zero, definitely there will be some power loss. So whenever a lossy dielectric means that only, whenever your electromagnetic wave is propagating through that medium, when your electromagnetic wave is propagating through that medium, what will happen? There will be some power loss in that electromagnetic wave. Wave basically it is about carrying energy. When it is transmitted through a lossy dielectric, it will lose some energy at the receiving end. Compared to source end, you will have lesser energy at what? At the receiving end, because there is power loss. That is what is meant by a lossy dielectric. Now, or we can say it's a partially conductive medium, right? So that is when you have your conductivity as a non-zero value. So that is about the what is meant by lossy dielectric. So now to derive here, we will consider what kind of a dielectric. We are going to consider a linear, isotropic, homogeneous, lossy dielectric medium. Understood? These all we have already explained what is linear, isotropic and homogeneous. Such a lossy dielectric medium, that is charge free. So we can consider this as charge free. I already told you that this is a better assumption in the last class, that rho v equal to 0. How we will consider that? We are considering it because we are considering a charge free medium. So let us write the Maxwell's equation. We already wrote Maxwell's equation in phasor form in the last class. So with our understanding that rho v is 0, we are just going to write that. So del dot Es will be equal to 0. So that is our, what is our first Maxwell's equation? Del dot D equal to rho v. So when you come to, when I say that my volume charge density is 0, or I am dealing a medium which is charge free, your wave is just propagating through it, okay, and it is not having any source inside it, a source free region. Such a region, the RHS will become what? 0, because your rho v is 0. D will become epsilon E. So since del dot Es, because of that del dot Es is 0. Right. Then what is our second equation? This we don't have any doubt. Del dot Hs equal to 0. This is in phasor form. Okay, del dot B equal to 0 is our second Maxwell's equation. From that only we are getting into del dot Hs equal to 0. Now the curl equation, del cross Es equal to minus j omega mu Hs. Yeah, right. I think I don't have to explain it here, right? Del cross E equal to minus dou B by dou T is our Maxwell's equation. In phasor form, dou by dou T will become what? Multiplying with j omega. So that is why this j omega comes. Dou B by dou T. B is what? The magnetic flux density is equal to B equal to mu H. So we are applying that relation here to get j omega mu Hs. So that is how your curl equation is coming like this. Now the next equation is what? Del cross Hs equal to sigma plus j omega epsilon into Es, right? This also I am not repeating it. This also we discussed, right? So del cross H equal to what? J plus dou D by dou T. Dou D by dou D we are relating with what? Epsilon Es. The conductivity, the current density J, the conduction current density J, we have derived as Ohm's law in point form as what? J equal to sigma E. So we are applying that here. So this becomes sigma plus j omega epsilon into Es. So these are the 4 Maxwell's equation, where in a charge free medium which is a lossy dielectric, in a charge free medium which is a lossy dielectric, right? So this is our base. This is from we are going to start. For our lossy dielectric, these Maxwell's equations are valid, right? When we are considering a charge free medium, for our lossy dielectric which is charge free, these 4 equations are valid. Okay. From this only we are getting into the derivation. So again I am considering the curl equation. What is curl equation? Del cross Es equal to minus j omega mu Hs. I think about this you don't have any doubt. Clear? J omega mu Hs means del cross Es, Faraday's law. Del cross E equal to minus dou B by dou T. minus dou by dot E in phasor form will become what is equivalent to multiplying with j omega, and B is what mu h. So that is how you get minus j omega mu hs. Now if we again take the curl of this equation, del cross Es is already there, so I am going to take what? I am going to take the curl of this equation. Then it is what? Del cross Es. We have to do the same on what? On the right hand side also. Since this j omega mu is what? It has nothing to do with del, right? Omega is frequency, mu is what? Permeability. It has nothing to do with the del operator, which is dou by dou x ax plus dou by dou y ay plus dou by dou z az, which operates on space. So del, it is we can take it inside. So it is what? J minus j omega mu into del cross hs, right? That is our RHS. Now we are going to apply the vector identity, which we already used several times. So this is an important vector identity: del cross a. Curl of the curl on what? Curl of a vector del cross a is equal to what? Del of del dot a minus del square a. So this identity you should be familiar with: del of del dot a minus del square a. Now if we use the and we have to use the fourth Maxwell's equation. What is fourth Maxwell's equation? Del cross h equal to sigma plus j omega epsilon into Es, right? So this way that also we know. So if we apply that, means on the LHS we are going to apply what? Del cross a. So what we will get here, in place of a we have Es, right? In place of a we have Es. So this will become what? Del of del dot Es minus del square Es equal to minus j omega mu, right? Minus j omega mu into what we had here, we had hs here, right? Minus j omega mu into hs is what we had. Then again that j omega hs we had. So there this del cross hs has come here, right? Minus j omega mu into del cross hs we got. So del cross hs means what? Sigma plus j omega epsilon into Es, right? That is our fourth Maxwell's equation in the last slide. So that we will substitute in the place of whom? In the place of del cross hs. I think you don't have any doubt here. Now comes our interesting part. Like you see, you can see del dot es here, right? You can see del dot es here. So what is del dot es? Del dot es is already 0, right? Del dot d equal to rho v. So when we have a charge free media, we can say what? We can say that your del dot es part will be equal to 0. So del dot es is already 0. Then it will become what? Only minus del square es. So we can convert this equation like this. How can we convert this equation? We can convert this equation this way. How? You can see this del square es will go to the other side. So this will become del square es minus j omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon es equal to 0, right? I think you don't have any doubt regarding this, because your del dot es has become 0, right? Now, so this is our equation: del square es minus j omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon into es equal to 0, right? So this I can write like this. What I have done, del square es I have taken as it is, and here we have a value j omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon. Here, other than angular frequency, others are constant, like mu, sigma, epsilon. What are they? They are all depending on the medium. So that whole thing we are considered as what? Gamma square, not gamma but gamma square es. Del square es minus gamma square es equal to 0. Okay, why gamma square? We have seen a similar equation in wave equation, like dot square e by dot e square minus u square into es equal to 0. So such a similar thing here. So del square es minus gamma square es equal to 0. So this is our wave equation corresponding to this. So now this gamma is what we call as what? Gamma is what we call as this gamma square. Gamma square means what? Gamma square means what? Gamma square is j omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon. J omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon is what? Gamma square, as evident from here, right? This is what gamma square is. So that we call as propagation constant of the medium. That is what we call as propagation constant. Now this is one equation for what? Electric field. Del square es minus gamma square es equal to 0. That is our one equation for electric field. If we use a similar approach on fourth Maxwell equation, what is fourth Maxwell equation? Del cross Hs equal to sigma plus j omega epsilon into Es. On that equation also, the same procedure if we use, then what we will get? We will get del square Hs minus gamma square Hs equal to 0. You can see that, like you will get the same gamma. So you will get del square Hs minus gamma square Hs equal to 0. So now in this class, what I want you to do as the assignment for today is that Es what we have already defined. So from the fourth Maxwell's equation, applying the same kind of vector identity, like applying curl and all, you have to derive this del square Hs minus gamma square Hs equal to 0. Okay. So these equations are called as what? The homogeneous vector Helmholtz equation. These equations are the homogeneous vector Helmholtz equation or the vector wave equation. These are called as homogeneous vector Helmholtz equation or the wave equation. Del square Es minus gamma square is equal to 0 and del square Hs minus gamma square Hs equal to 0. We got similar equation for electric as well as magnetic field vectors. Now here we will see the propagation constant. Propagation constant square, gamma square, that is what which it is tells about the wave propagation, how your wave is propagating. That gamma square is given by what? J omega mu into sigma plus j omega epsilon, gamma square. Gamma is the propagation constant. Now from this we have to get into we are going to see what is inside this, what is meant by the propagation constant basically. So if I multiply j omega mu inside, what I will get? I will get j omega mu sigma minus j and j omega mu. If you take together, then what you will get? Minus j square j square is what? Minus 1. So minus omega square mu epsilon. Now the real part of gamma square is what? Here we have got j, so this is the real part, which is minus omega square mu epsilon, right? Minus omega square mu epsilon, that is my real part. So and if the absolute value of gamma square is what? The absolute value of gamma square is omega mu into root of sigma square plus epsilon square. Right, I think there is no there need not be any doubt related to that. Right. See, this is the gamma square, means the what is the magnitude of gamma square? Magnitude of, if this is gamma square, then magnitude of gamma square means what? You have got this omega mu on both sides, so you can take it as take it outside. And means basically you will get, if you can try this if you want, so you will get omega mu into root of sigma square plus omega square epsilon square. Now this from this equation itself you can understand that gamma is a complex quantity. So if we write gamma as alpha plus j beta, means real and imaginary part, then let me write this equation. Minus real part of gamma square is written here. So minus real part of gamma square will be equal to omega square mu epsilon, which is equal to what? If you take the gamma square, it will be equal to what? Alpha plus j beta into alpha plus j beta. So it's real. If you do if you take the real part of this one, you will get the real part as what? Beta square minus alpha square. Okay, you can try if you want. Now magnitude of the gamma square, which we already seen it as what? Mu epsilon into sigma square plus omega square epsilon, that will be equal to alpha square plus beta square. Here clear that is alpha square plus beta square. So this much we know. With this understanding, if we like one place we got what? Beta square minus alpha square, and the other part we have alpha square plus beta square, right? So if we consider both of these things, means if we can subtract and add them, that will give you alpha and beta. So what subtraction will give? Subtraction will give 2 alpha square, right? So I am dividing it by 2, so I will get what? Alpha square. That is from where your this 2 is coming. So basically that alpha square will be equal to what? The other part, like omega mu into root of sigma square plus omega square epsilon, right? That is my that means this part only. So omega mu into root of sigma square plus epsilon square minus omega square mu epsilon divided by 2, all divided by 2. So that is the equation. From here I can take omega square mu epsilon by 2 as common factor. Omega square mu epsilon 2 by 2 as the common factor. Then it will into what means this part I am completely taking as what common. Then I will get what the inside the bracket I will have 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon all square and a minus 1 for this part. So that is will be my equation when I am when I am doing the subtraction. So the same equation is written here, which is what omega square mu epsilon by 2 into 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon all square minus 1. Right, this is my alpha square. So from this I can find alpha by taking root, right. So omega square is there, so that is what is becoming omega here. Then you got mu epsilon by 2, that is the part coming here. When you are taking alpha, then it will become root of mu epsilon by 2. Inside that you again got what root got what you have to take the square root of this remaining part, but 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon all square minus 1. So that is our alpha. Clear? Now on addition we will get beta also. What is our beta? Beta is given if you add them to, you can try if you want. So beta we will get as omega into root of mu epsilon by 2 into 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon by 2 plus 1. This is basically on what that addition and subtraction will give you beta. So this is alpha and beta. Okay, this is the two important factors which decides how your electromagnetic wave is propagating in a medium. Okay, that is why it is called as propagation constant. We will get it into the details of that. So what are the details? If you consider the free space, if you see in this equation, if you consider free space, we have already defined this. U is what the velocity of the wave, that is equal to omega by beta. We already defined this. Then if it is omega by beta, beta value when you are taking when you are considering free space, that will become like omega by omega root mu epsilon. It will become the conductivity alpha will be 0 here. So beta value you will have omega by omega root mu epsilon. So that will come as 1 by root of mu epsilon. Basically for free space it is mu 0 epsilon 0, right, because your mu r value is 1, epsilon r value is 1. So this velocity in this case, particularly whenever it is we are considering the free space, then your velocity of wave is independent of frequency. Right, that is right, independent of frequency. But for lossy dielectrics, as you have seen in the last slide, the beta value is a nonlinear function, you can say, of what, of frequency. It varies with respect to frequency, and your the permittivity is also not does not have a simple variation with respect to frequency. That also is having some complex variation. So these two things are there when you come to a lossy dielectric, that your beta is not at all a linear function. But here whenever you comes to the free space, then your velocity is what, independent of frequency. You have a constant velocity, okay, that somehow travel with the speed of light, we say. You can apply now mu 0 epsilon 0, you will get approximately as what, 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Okay, now so therefore therefore what, when you come to lossy dielectric, as I said, beta is not a linear function of frequency, and epsilon also, frankly epsilon also varies with the frequency. That is what is meant. So under the circumstances, what will happen when you have a electromagnetic wave propagation inside the medium? Your wave will have different frequency component traveling with different velocities. Right. So that circumstance is what we call as what, dispersion in lossy dielectric. Okay, that is what we call as dispersion in lossy dielectric, just like the dispersion of light. So dispersion in lossy dielectric happens when you have a different because your beta is what, now it is dependent on frequency. Now let us solve this thing for a particular case. Like I am going to consider my electric field here. Es in phasor form is given by what? Exs of Z Ax cap. What it means is that the variable, my variable Exs, that is my field, right? My field is Exs, which is sinusoidal. That is why I am putting it as in a phasor form. This really means what? It is containing e power e raised to j omega t also, right? Which depicts the what a sinusoidal part of it. That is what we omit when we consider we are representing the same thing in phasor form. So really what is it is a sinusoidal, but we are representing it in the phasor form. That is what this S represents. So Ex of Z means your variation in electric field is happening in which direction? In the x direction, right? And in which direction your field is propagating, that is in the z direction, because whenever you have your z value, with respect to z, your field is varying in the x direction. Like this is your sinusoidal wave. If I consider, this is the direction of z, right? Whenever you have z equal to pi by 2, 3 pi by 4, you have some value of electric field. In whichever direction your field is changing, this direction is what? This is the x direction. That is what is meant by this Exs of z into Exs of z Ax cap. Ax cap is the direction of what? Direction of electric field, not the propagation. Propagation direction is z, but in which direction your wave is existing, that is in the x direction. So this is our wave which we are considering. Okay. Now, if we substitute this in the wave equation, what was the wave equation? Del square Es minus gamma square Es equal to 0. So if we substitute, we can take del square minus gamma square as common into Exs of z equal to 0, right? This is our substitution. So now this becomes quite simple, because here the variation in field is just constrained to which direction? Only in the x axis, not in y axis or z axis. Your electric field is varying only in the x direction. So that makes things quite easier, right? So your considered wave is traveling in the z direction and electric field is varying only in which direction? This x direction, as I have shown here. So under that condition, if we expand it, what del square means what? Dou square by dou x square, right? Dou square by dou x square into Exs of z, dou square by dou y square into Exs of z, plus dou square by dou z square into Exs of z. Your electric field is a function of which variable? Only a function of what? Z variable only. So your dou square Exs by dou x square, dou square part and dou square by dou y square part will become 0, because there is no variation of electric field in the x as well as z direction, right? With respect to what? X or the y, not direction, with respect to what? X or the y variable. Your electric field is varying in the x direction, but the with respect to what? With respect to the z variable only. So dou square Exs of z divided by dou z square will be the only variable, right? So here we can, and the last part, minus gamma square Exs of z equal to 0. So this will become this, and since here this will depend on only one variable, we can make the partial differential into what? The normal differential. So it will become what? D square by dz square minus gamma square into Exs of z equal to 0. So this is something good, right? Because now your equation is not partial differential equation, it is what? It is a normal differential equation, right? So it is a so this is what we call as the scalar wave equation, because you have this Exs of z which is in its direction, only in one direction. So we are just considering the scalar. So this is what scalar wave equation, and at the same time it's a what? Linear homogeneous differential equation, whose solution we already know, right? D square minus gamma square into Exs of z equal to 0. This is the simplest differential equation whose solution we already know from our mathematical understanding. Our solution of that equation is what? So this is our equation. Solution to that equation is what? Exs of z equal to E0 e raised to minus gamma z plus E0 dash e raised to gamma z, right? Right, this is non-tu from differential equation solution. So a1 e raised to minus b1x plus a2 e raised to plus bx. This is something non-tu. So e0 e raised minus gamma z plus e0 dash e raised to gamma z. Now one understanding that we are going to apply here is that the field must be finite at infinity, right? Even if it reaches infinity, your field must be finite. If you take this 2 function, e raised to minus gamma z is a function which is going to decay with respect to space, right? Where e raised to minus ax means what? It is a decaying exponential, whereas this e raised to gamma z is what? It is a increasing exponential. It is not going to decay. So at infinity it will be approaching infinity. To avoid that, we can what we can do, we can use our understanding that E0 dash will be equal to 0. Otherwise what? Otherwise your electric field will not be finite at infinity. So relating that relating that, what it will become, Exs of z become only E0 e raised to minus gamma z. So converting this from phasor form to time domain, so this must be understood, right? So to convert phasor form to time domain, this we discussed in the last class. Not last class, one more class behind that we have discussed this. So what? Real part of Ex of z into what we avoided here, we avoided that e raised j omega t, right? So we are including that, and it is in the x direction. So Ex is into a x cap what of z into e raised to j omega t. So this is what the real part means, right? So this is the real part. Here you can see this. So the variation is with respect to whom? The z, but in which direction your field is varying? In the x direction, right? So this is what is given. So in that Exs of z we already derived. What is meant by Exs of z? It is equal to E0 e raised minus gamma z. We avoided the E0 dash. We avoided which part? We avoided the E0 e raised minus gamma z part, right? We are avoiding this part because by understanding what at infinity it should be finite. So putting that condition, we avoided this. That is why this become E0 e raised to minus gamma z. Now applying that, so this is what our real part of this much is our equation. So e raised to minus gamma z into e raised to j omega t. So this e raised to minus gamma, this gamma is what? Gamma is alpha plus j beta. That also if we apply, then we will get what? Alpha, this e raised to minus gamma minus gamma become what? Minus alpha minus j beta. So it is taken from that real and imaginary part, like what? E raised to minus alpha z into e raised to j into omega t minus beta z. Omega t was already there, beta z comes from what? Minus beta z comes from the gamma portion. So with that we will get this equation, what? E raised to minus alpha z e raised to minus alpha z plus then what? Into e raised to j into omega t minus beta z in the x direction. So this is our electric field. Okay. So real part means what? When we take real part, is this much is what? This much is just variable E0 e raised to minus alpha z. These are all real part. So E0 e raised minus alpha z we can take out. Then on the e raised to j omega part, e raised to jx is cos x plus j sin x. So if you take real part only, we get the cosine part, cos omega t minus beta z into ax. This is the field. This is our field when it comes to a lossy dielectric. This is our field when it comes to a lossy dielectric. E0 e raised to minus alpha z cos omega t minus beta z in the x direction. So this is our field when it comes to lossy, right? So how this waveform will look like? It is a cosine waveform, right? So this is the dark line. This dark blue line is what? My cosine waveform. This dark blue line is my cosine waveform. This one. So if we take this, that is at corresponding to what? At a time t equal to 0. So at time t is equal to 0, with some phase shift beta z. So that is that is why you are this is not starting at the peak is not starting at 0. Some distance is there, let me say. So cos omega t minus beta z into ax cap. So at a time t equal to 0, what will happen? This will start here, and this E0 e raised to minus alpha z. E0 means what? At the peak of it. E raised to minus alpha is a decaying wave. That decaying wave is shown like this from both sides. Like this kind of thing you are already familiar in control systems and power system transients, right? So this is sine wave, which is what? Which is decaying also. Sine wave which is decaying. That decaying part is given by this e raised to minus alpha z, and how much faster it is decaying. that will depend on whom? That will depend on the alpha, right? How much faster it is decaying will depend on this portion, which is the our alpha. So that is why that is why we call it as what means wave will become attenuated with respect to space. Wave is getting attenuated or is getting damped, right? It is getting damped when you consider what in space. So our consideration is what it is in the positive z direction. So under that condition, alpha represent what? How much it is reducing, how much the wave, the amplitude is reducing, right? So okay. So this is our electric field, as I already know. So in a similar way, we can find what? In a similar way, we can take h of zt. That also can be derived. If you try, you can derive. So a similar way, if we derive, what we will get? We will get that h of zt equal to the real part of h0 e raised to minus alpha z e raised to j omega t minus beta z into a by cap. Because we have seen that it is the same equation, del square into hs minus gamma square hs equal to 0. That is what we will get. That is your assignment today. So when you do that, that also will have what? Similar solution. Real part of h0 e raised minus alpha z e raised to j into omega t minus beta z. Now this is the important part here. When you take h0 and e0, h0 and e0 are related like this. h0 equal to e0 divided by eta. h0 is given by e0 divided by eta. That is how we are relating what? Electric field and magnetic field. Okay, it's that amplitude peak values. So this eta is called as intrinsic impedance. Eta is an intrinsic impedance, and this is a complex quantity. Eta is what we call as intrinsic impedance. Or from here we can write what? Eta equal to E0 by H0, right? E0 by H0 is the intrinsic impedance, which depends on the medium through which it is traveling. So it is a quantity which is decided based on the medium. Okay. So eta, if you using Maxwell's equation, we can formulate like this. Eta is given by root of j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon. The last two Maxwell's equation, if you use, you will get this eta value. It is given by root of j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon. So as you can see, it is a complex quantity. Okay, complex quantity means this much only. As you have seen the waveform, in your wave, what is happening? There is a decay, like a DC component which is decaying, and there is what? A sinusoidal also is there. So that's complex quantity coming. So eta we can represent as what? Eta, modulus of eta and angle theta n. Okay, or we can write also as what? Eta e raised to j theta n. Okay, that is another representation. The intrinsic impedance is given by what? Eta equal to root of j omega mu divided by sigma j omega epsilon. Just as last slide. So this, if we see here, I am going to take eta square. What is eta square? The root will disappear when you are considering eta square. So you will get j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon. Again, another thing I am going to do is that what I will do, I need this j alone. Okay, so for that I am taking out omega epsilon, or taking out omega epsilon. So what I will get? I will get j omega epsilon. Taking out means what? If I take out omega epsilon from here, epsilon from here, I will get what? J mu by epsilon divided by sigma by mu epsilon plus j, right? Now I have this term like this. Now in order to make this is all to form it in as was real and imaginary part. Now the denominator sigma by mu omega epsilon plus j, I will take its conjugate and multiply in the RHS as well, means in the nominator and as well as denominator. So you numerator as well as denominator. So I will get this equation like this: sigma by omega epsilon plus j into here this part sigma by mu epsilon minus j divided by minus j. So because of that, you will get a denominator as a real quantity, and so we will have a better understanding on real and imaginary part. So that way, if we do the calculation, you will get this equation: mu by sigma square equal to mu by epsilon plus j into mu sigma by mu epsilon square divided by 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon all square. Okay. This is all mathematics. You take some time, sit with a paper, you can do this. So basically eta square will come like this. Okay, your intrinsic impedance square. From this, the magnitude of eta square will be what? Magnitude of eta square you can easily calculate. Okay. For magnitude you don't have to go till this also. Just from the first equation itself, if you see, magnitude means what? First equation means if you consider this equation, yeah, and what is magnitude of a complex quantity? Root of a square plus b square, right? So on the numerator, if you see, there is no real part, so only this root of mu by epsilon will come, as we are seeing it here. On the denominator, you have to take again what? Root of this j square, this j part is what? 1 only is there, so that is why 1 square is 1 plus sigma by mu epsilon all square, all raised 1 by 4. So that is your numerator, right? This is our numerator, means the magnitude of what? Magnitude of eta, right? This is the magnitude of eta. So and another part is that this tan 2 theta, and like if you take this is the what? Eta square given. Eta square is mu by epsilon plus j into mu sigma by mu epsilon square. So here what will be the tan angle? That the theta for this eta square, your let it be the angle be theta. Then what will be theta? Theta equal to tan inverse of what? Tan inverse of the imaginary part divided by real part, right? Imaginary part of the equation is mu epsilon mu sigma by mu epsilon square divided by this quantity, and real part is given by mu by epsilon divided by this quantity. Since your denominator is common, it will get cancelled because of division. Then what will be left? This mu sigma by omega epsilon square and mu by epsilon will be left. If you cancel the terms, then you will get this equation as then what you will get? You will get it as theta equal to tan inverse of tan inverse of sigma by omega or epsilon. That is for whom? That is for gamma, that is for eta square, right? So eta square is eta into eta, which is again eta this angle theta and eta angle theta into eta angle theta. So that is how you get this tan 2 theta eta here. So that will be equal to sigma by omega epsilon. If you have a doubt on this, you can we will discuss it later. Okay, it is just mathematical. You can spend some time on that. Now similarly, magnetic field also we can use this, means we are going to use this eta part in this magnetic field equation. We are in place of h0 we are substituting E0 divided by eta e raised to j theta eta, that we will substitute. The all other part is just similar only. So we will get the other thing is what? Just similar only, right? And this e raised to j theta eta was there. That is what is getting inside the cosine equation, because again this when it goes up, it will become e raised to minus j. So along with this beta z part, you will get theta eta part also. So that much only is there. So your h of zt is written in terms of what? Your h of zt is written in terms of the electric field. Okay, it's the amplitude. Its amplitude. This is for same for electric field. So its amplitude is given by what? Its amplitude is given by E0 by modulus of eta, and it is reducing at what? E raised to minus alpha z, the same way, and it is having a phase shift in radians. Compared to electric field, it is having a shifted which is equal to what? Theta eta, which again depends on sigma and epsilon of the material, right? So that is how that is what we understand from this. This alpha we call as the attenuation constant. I think we already discussed this. Alpha is attenuation constant. It's a measure of what? It's a measure of spatial rate of decay of the wave in medium, as you are seeing here. First it was here, and slowly your amplitude is decreasing like this. So that is what it is measuring. That is why it is called as attenuation constant, alpha. A wave's attenuation constant, that is alpha, a measure of the spatial rate of decay of the wave in the medium, and it is measured in Napier's per meter or decibel per meter. Okay. So what we meant is that 1 Napier is given by 20 log e to the base 10. Okay, 1 ampere is given as 20 log e to the base 10. So 10 means this much decibel what it is meant. So 1 ampere is equal to 8.686 decibel, or when I say 1 ampere is the 1 ampere per meter is the attenuation constant, what I mean is that per meter there is an 8.686 decibel decrement, or e raised to or what this is what it meant, it becomes e raised to minus 1 value. So that is the understanding. I think you are familiar with decibel from your control systems. So another part is the phase constant beta. This we already discussed long before. Beta represents what? The phase shift, means when you are coming from here to here. This is electric. If I say this is electric field, so in the y-axis I may have a magnetic field, right, like this. In the y-axis I will have a magnetic field which is reducing maybe. So from both of the what is the phase shift from both of the peaks? What is the phase shift? This is what is represented by. This is what is represented by what? Beta, or the phase constant, or the wave number. So this is about that. And the relations on based on beta are what? U equal to omega by beta, and lambda equal to 2 pi by beta. Means what? The velocity of the wave as well as the wavelength. These are dependent on this phase constant or wave number, right? That is why this wave number thing is coming, because this relationship with lambda. It will take 2 pi radians to complete one wave, right? So how many such waves in one wave? Like that way of understanding. Now this is the here we discussed lossy dielectric. We have seen that the electric field and magnetic field wave will propagate and it will decay, right? It will decay and it will propagate. And we saw that is what is meant by attenuation constant and phase constant. So decay and propagate, and at the same time your electric and magnetic field will have a phase difference also. So that also is evident here. Now in the next class we will see the uniform plane wave and its propagation through what? Propagation through different media. Like now we saw only one which is the lossy dielectric. Now from next class onwards we will see what happens when it comes to a conducting medium, a lossless dielectric, etc. So what to do in the assignment I already have said during the class. So please answer that in Google Classroom.